The fog hangs low over Swan Lake, clinging to ancient cypress trees, their branches like skeletal fingers against a bruised dusk sky. The air is cold, heavy with damp earth and decay. Silence presses in, thick with secrets. Out on the water a ghostly wedding dress drifts, lace and silk stained and spectral. The water laps at its edges, the only sound in the oppressive quiet. On the muddy bank a British racing green Jaguar E-Type sits, driver's door ajar, keys in the ignition, a scene frozen in despair. Resting on the dashboard, a single sheet of cream-colored stationery. The note reads, "I can't bear it anymore. Let the lake keep me." It's the kind of note that closes a case before it opens. But something feels wrong. The ink is too crisp, the paper too pristine for this damp air. This place, the Vale Estate's private lake, was meant to be a sanctuary. Tonight, it's a crime scene. Vale Manor looms above, its windows dark and watchful. The house, the car, the dress, the note, pieces of Eleanor Vale's life. By all appearances her life ended here, in the cold dark waters. But the truth is rarely so simple. It's often submerged, hidden beneath the surface. This is where the story begins, not with a scream, but with a whisper. Someone must be brave enough to look deeper into the chilling, murky depths. Eleanor Vale was born into privilege, the Vale name etched into the city's foundations. From the outside, her life was a fairy tale. Heiress in a Gothic manor, surrounded by wealth and legacy. But the manor was a gilded cage, beautiful and suffocating. Eleanor was an artist, a poet, her passions dismissed as rebellion. After a final argument over an arranged marriage she left, vanishing into the city for 5 years. The Vales erased her, speaking of her only in the past tense. Then, a letter from her mother arrived, pleading for reconciliation as her father's health failed. Hesitantly, Eleanor returned, stepping back into a world of unspoken rules and hidden agendas. Her friends warned her, but the pull of family was strong. She went home hoping for peace, and walked into a mystery. The investigation was swift and superficial. The groundskeeper found Eleanor by the lake. Police arrived to a scene that screamed suicide. A troubled heiress, a note, a history of family strife. The narrative wrote itself. The coroner listed drowning. No signs of struggle. Case closed. The Vale family, through their lawyer, requested privacy. But Eleanor's friends refused to accept the story. She was planning an art show, in love full of hope. The suicide note was the first crack. Her friend Clara insisted it wasn't Eleanor's handwriting. The police dismissed her, but Clara and others hired a forensic document examiner. Meanwhile, the estate's surveillance system covering every gate and path had a technical malfunction. The crucial 6 hours of footage were gone, a convenient glitch and impossible coincidence. The perfect suicide was starting to look staged. The private investigation began to quietly probe the edges. The deception ran deeper than a forged note. The Vale estate was a fortress, yet the evidence vanished. The official story was neat, but the truth was unraveling. Eleanor's friends needed proof to give a voice to the dead. The case was no longer closed. The first deception had been exposed. The question was, how deep did it go? The story was far from over. The real investigation had just begun. The private investigators searched Eleanor's city apartment, a vibrant chaos of canvases and books. Hidden in a shoebox, a leather-bound journal, locked with a cipher. A retired cryptographer cracked the code, revealing not despair, but fear. The entries began the day Eleanor returned to Vale Manor. She wrote of cold stares, whispers, and a sense of menace. "They watch me. I feel their eyes even when I'm alone." William called her paranoid, suggested she see Dr. Alistair again, a name that chilled her. The journal spoke of a room she refused to enter, of psychological pressure disguised as therapy. Another entry. "I found something in Father's study. Papers about the estate, about me. I know it's why they wanted me back. It wasn't about forgiveness. It was about control. If something happens to me, the truth is in here. Don't let them say it was my choice." Eleanor wasn't giving up. She was documenting a crime she feared was coming. The journal was a desperate plea from beyond the grave. It painted a chilling picture of her final days. The official story was a lie. The truth was hidden in her own words. The investigator had found a key. The journal changed everything. Eleanor's fear was real. The danger was close. The evidence was mounting. The case was no longer about suicide. It was about survival. The forensic report confirmed it. The suicide note was a forgery. The handwriting was close, but not Eleanor's, the pressure too uniform. The signature traced from a legal document. The forgery was skilled, but soulless. This was not a crime of passion but of calculation. Someone with access to her signature and a motive had crafted a lie. The revelation transformed a tragedy into a suspected homicide. The act of forging a suicide note is an intimate violence, an attempt to steal a person's final words. The killer wanted to rewrite Eleanor's history to silence her truth. The investigation now had its first concrete evidence. The question was no longer if Eleanor was murdered, but who had done it. The forged note was the killer's first move in a deadly game. The hunt for the truth had begun. With the suicide theory shattered, attention turned to the missing surveillance footage. The family's lawyer, Arthur Croft, claimed a technical glitch, producing paperwork to back it up. But a former security technician revealed the system was too robust for a total blackout. Only someone with the highest level password could erase the footage. That list included the family head of security, and Croft himself. Another silent witness, Dr. Alistair Finch, Eleanor's therapist, mentioned with fear in her journal. His therapy sessions, held in a soundproofed room, were described as psychological pressure, not healing. Finch refused to discuss Eleanor, citing confidentiality. His history showed a pattern. He often sided with powerful families, sometimes leading to the commitment of rebellious heirs. The soundproofed room was a place of interrogation, not help. The pressure on Eleanor was immense, and the evidence of manipulation was growing. Three figures loomed over Eleanor's final days, each with motive and opportunity. William Vale, her brother, stood to inherit everything and moved quickly to consolidate power after her death. Arthur Croft, the family lawyer, controlled secrets and the security system, and had access to Eleanor's signature. The groundskeeper, Thomas, found Eleanor's body at an odd hour, his loyalty and actions unclear. William's motive? Greed. Croft's loyalty to the dynasty. Thomas, a silent witness, perhaps a pawn or protector. Together they formed a triangle of suspicion, each held a piece of the puzzle. The killer was almost certainly among them, or all of them, working together. Their secrets bound them. The truth was tangled in their web. The shadows around Swan Lake grew darker. The forged suicide note held one more secret. Lab analysis revealed the ink and paper were purchased 2 weeks before Eleanor returned home, by William Vale. The plan to kill her and stage her suicide was set in motion long before she arrived. Security footage and receipts proved Eleanor was miles away when the note was allegedly written. The note wasn't just forged, it was premeditated, waiting for the right moment. The killer had crafted the narrative in advance, controlling the story from start to finish. This was more than a cover-up, it was a script for murder. The timeline twist changed everything. The conspiracy was deeper than anyone imagined. The question was no longer just who killed Eleanor, but how long had they been planning it. The evidence pointed to chilling intent. The truth was buried beneath layers of deception. The final act was set before Eleanor ever came home. 3 theories emerged from the fog. First, William killed Eleanor for the inheritance, staging her suicide with Croft's help. Second, Dr. Finch's therapy went too far. Psychological coercion or drugs led to her death, covered up as suicide. Third, Eleanor uncovered a devastating family secret. Her return was about containment, her death about silencing a whistleblower. Each theory casts a different shadow. Greed, psychological manipulation, or desperate protection of a secret. The truth likely lies in the intersection of these motives. Without more evidence, the case remains a haunting mystery. The fog over Swan Lake refuses to lift. Years have passed since Eleanor's body was pulled from Swan Lake. The case is closed, labeled suicide, the Vale family untouched. William leads the family empire. Croft is retired. Dr. Finch continues his practice. Thomas is gone. The silence from Vale Manor is absolute. The world has moved on, but the mystery endures. Unanswered questions linger. Who wrote the note? What happened to the footage? What secret did Eleanor discover? For her friends, especially Clara, there is no closure. Only the memory of the real Eleanor and her hidden journal. They are the keepers of her truth, waiting for justice. Every year, a single white rose appears on the lake's muddy bank. No one knows who leaves it. A friend, or someone seeking penance. The white rose is all that remains, a beautiful silent mystery. Was it suicide, or something far darker? The secret sleeps in the cold, deep waters of the lake.